we talked earlier in the show about Quantum Error having no multiplayer. That's been confirmed by the folks over at Team Kill Media. And so I wanted to go ahead and talk in this segment of the show about the possibilities of maybe a multiplayer being added later on in the future, or could it be added, in future entries of this hopeful franchise? That being said, let's talk about it, guys. And I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts about this in the comment section down below. This is a massive ordeal because I've always said this on the YouTube channel, that after you play a single player experience, a lot of times after you're done playing it one or two times, you move on to other games. So how do you stay engaged? How do you stay with a specific franchise? That being, obviously something that is not I usually would talk, we have to put an asterisk here around big AAA titles, obviously. So with the big AAA titles, if all you have is single player experience, not that people aren't going to, play it. People are going to try it out without question. But after you beat it a couple of times, are you going to move on to other games, or are they going to add things to the title to bring you back to the experience over and over again? So that being said, multiplayer. Multiplayer can be a multitude of different things, guys. Obviously, we can talk PvP, we can talk PvE, we can talk co-op, all these different ways that you can connect with the title. So could it be something that's added later on? Well, it's a big question, guys. Obviously, at this very juncture in time, Quantum Error, they're not planning on doing it, right? Obviously, they're focused right now, and they should be focused on just delivering the best experience for a single-player Cosmic FPS title. So I'm excited about that, and that is something that I'm totally on board with, especially because this is not a massive AAA title of some massive franchise yet. Now, I think that this definitely could, if things are put into proper place, and then we as the community are creating content around it. We're, obviously trying to echo more of these games into existence and things of that nature. So could it be something that's added later on in like potential updates or in future entries of the title? I think it's absolutely possible. The way I look at it, guys, is let's just say, I talk about this all the time, but with horror games, I feel like Gears of War had the perfect, they had a great structure to bringing people back to the experience over and over again. After you were done playing the single player story, you obviously had multiplayer modes where it was like PvP, and then there's like competitive and things of that nature. But then there's also on the flip side of that, you've got where it's PvE. You can play with your friends, whether it's in the campaign, whether we're talking from a multiplayer experience playing against other people across the world, or playing against waves and waves of enemies in what is called in Gears of War's world, Horde mode. And I feel that so many games don't take advantage of this, where obviously just a concept, it's a simple concept, going up against waves and waves of enemies as time goes, you're upgrading your weapons and things of that nature, working together as a team. I think there's a lot of ways that Gears of War actually could get better at it, and I think that there's ways like games like, say, Quantum Error, for example, could really capitalize on this, where the sheer terror of going up against waves and waves of enemies would be something pretty terrifying, especially if you're playing by yourself or even with friends. I think that a game like Dead Space, I feel like that's something that they could have done, capitalized on, and it could have been something absolutely incredible, where going up against waves and waves of necromorphs, and then the next wave would be a number of other different types of enemies, and, as you go, you're fighting against bosses and things of that nature. Quantum Error is a title I feel could really take advantage of this, bringing you back to the experience, leveling up your character, leveling up your armor and things of that nature. Dead Space had a great level up system in the single player story, but outside of that, they didn't have any other ways to connect with the title. And I'm not saying, guys, after you beat Quantum Error, you're not going to want to play it again. I'm saying that there's a good chance you will want to, and you're going to want to stay within that universe. I think that I'm saying that, could these things potentially be added to the experience over time? I definitely think they could. But I think, guys, it really comes down to us as the community voicing this to the developers over at Team Kill that, hey, we want this added at some point. I think what we really have to wait for is the single player experience. Once it comes out, we get our hands on it, we're playing it, because in my mind, I want Team Kill to focus totally at this point on just that thing that they're doing, and they want to do at a very high level, which is the single player experience. Once they knock that out of the park, and I have no doubt in my mind they're going to absolutely crush it, I would love to see at some point or another they start adding other things. Now, I'm sure that there is a timeline here of other things that they want to do along the course of this journey that we have Quantum Error, whether we're talking DLC, things of that nature. But is multiplayer somewhere down the pipeline, maybe in the back of their minds? Hey, if we crush the single player story, we can add other modes to this in future updates, things of that nature. I think it's something that could happen. If it's not, maybe we can get those conversations going, guys. I'd love to have like an open-ended conversation. What do you guys think? Do you think that we need to have other ways to connect with Quantum Error moving forward after the single player story, once it releases? Do we need more ways to connect with it? I mean, we see a game, an example would be The Last of Us Part 2. Absolutely, they crushed the single player story. Absolutely awesome. But then obviously a lot of people have wanted and wondered, where's the multiplayer for The Last of Us Part 2? We still haven't gotten it. And sure, they did incredible numbers and things of that nature, but if they would have added, multiplayer at some point or another, it would have brought a lot of people back to that experience over and over again. So it'll be something interesting, guys. Like I said, I'd love to have a real open-ended conversation about this with all of you in the comment section down below. I'm incredibly excited about Quantum Error, guys, and I'm sure many of you are excited as well. We need to make this game huge. Let's do it. Let me know what you guys think, though, in the comment section down below. For more Quantum Error content and videos, stay here with Zero TV.